Hello, friends, and welcome back. I wanted to quickly say thanks to everyone who watched and liked my last video essay about the beard guys of YouTube. Since then, I've actually had this bad boy cleaned up a little bit. What do you think? How's that look? Look nice? Does that look nice? So today I'm going to talk about bottle episodes, and specifically one episode that I think nails the formula better than any other one. A bottle episode, if you're not familiar, is a show, typically a sitcom, but not always, that takes place all in a single location and is usually, but not always, in real time. Some examples of these include Frasier's The Dinner Party, which takes place entirely in Frasier's apartment, and he and Niles are just trying to plan a dinner party and things go bananas. Great episode. There's Seinfeld's The Chinese Restaurant, where Seinfeld and the gang are just waiting for their table to be ready at a Chinese restaurant. Fun side note, Larry David apparently had to fight so hard to get this episode made that at one point he threatened to quit when NBC told him that they weren't going to let them do it. There's also Cooperative Calligraphy, a super meta episode of Community where several characters, including Abed and Jeff, call attention to the fact that they are actually acting out a bottle episode.
Are we going to the puppy parade or not? Because this is starting to feel like a bottle episode. It's a bottle episode.
I'm doing a bottle episode.
Bottle episodes tend to do the following. 1. Establish the location. 2. Establish why all the characters are together in the location. 3. Establish what is keeping the characters in the location. And 4. Resolve all the issues that were keeping the characters in the location so that they can leave. Because all the action is contained to a single space, it affects the way that we would normally think about a sitcom's A plot, B plot, C plot. We'll get back to that. To help elucidate, I'd like to focus on what I believe to be the best bottle episode ever made, Season 3, Episode 2 of Friends, the one where no one's ready. I'd like to come right out and say that Friends is not my favorite show. I do find it smooth and watchable, and usually more pleasant than laugh out loud funny. Yes, the blinding whiteness, insensitive weight jokes, and casual homophobia have not aged well, but boy did those kids have chemistry. While there are many more iconic episodes of Friends, this one is my personal favorite, if for no other reason than its sneaky structural brilliance. In this video, I'm going to touch on the 4 things that it does very well. Number 1, seamlessly interweaves individual plot threads. Number 2, heightens each plot thread to perfection. Number 3, uses entrances and exits to create dynamic and to help rest the game. And number 4, to borrow a term from Brad Bird, it uses every part of the buffalo. If you've never seen this episode before, the premise is very simple. Ross is giving a speech at the museum where he works. It's a big black tie event. He's invited all of his friends to come. So he needs for Joey, Chandler, Monica, Phoebe, and Rachel all to be dressed and ready to go. He goes to Rachel and Monica's apartment to pick them all up. No one's ready yet. He tells them that they all have exactly 22 minutes to get ready and to get into the cabs and go. So on our checklist so far, we have number 1, establish a location. We're going to be in Monica's apartment. Number 2, establish why the characters are together. They're all supposed to leave in cabs together to go to the event. Number 3, establish what is keeping the characters in the location. No one's ready. They can't leave until they're ready. It's simple. We'll get to number 4 later. Real quick, I always find it very funny in bottle episodes of TV shows when they kind of announce up top that it's about to be a bottle episode. Like in this particular case, Ross comes in and is like, "Come on guys, we only have 22 minutes. That's the length of a sitcom when you remove all the commercials from it." Anyway, before I mentioned that a typical sitcom has an A plot, B plot, sometimes C and D plot. Usually the action of the A plot takes place in one location with one set of characters, while the action of the B plot takes place in a separate location with a separate set of characters, and you have sort of time and location to help tell your story. In a bottle episode, all these different plot threads need to exist in the same place at the same time. Let's start by identifying the individual plot threads of the episode. A1 plot. Ross has a big event coming up and he needs for everyone to get ready as quickly as possible. Ross is the one providing the sense of urgency for the episode. A2 plot. Rachel is ready to go, except that she hasn't yet decided what to wear. I'm calling this plot A2 instead of B because the way it heightens is most directly related to Ross. B plot. Joey and Chandler have a childlike argument over who has dibs on a particular chair. C plot. Monica hears a voicemail from her ex-boyfriend Richard. She's confused because they had agreed not to contact one another, but she's still nursing her wounds over him, and she does not know whether the message is new or old. D plot. Phoebe, who had been the only one who was ready, gets hummus on her dress. So we have 6 characters and 4.5 plot threads. It's important to note that not all of these plot threads is weighted evenly. Phoebe's in particular is very light, which is kind of necessary to allow the other 3.5 plot threads to carry more weight. Let's take a look at how these plot threads are introduced and start to interweave.
Why aren't you guys dressed?
We have a half hour.
No, 4 minutes ago you had a half hour. We have to be out the door at 20 to 8.
Yeah, I just have to get dressed.
Yay. And that takes what, just 6 or 7 minutes?
Yeah, once I figure out what I'm wearing.
Get up.
What?
Near my seat.
How is this your seat?
You guys, you know what? You know what? It doesn't matter. Because you both have to go get dressed before the big vein in my head pops.
You guys, does this look like something the girlfriend of a paleontologist would wear? I don't know, you might be the first one.
Joey, I wrote a little song today. It's called Get Up.
Monica, it's Richard. Call me.
Is that message old or new? Older new!
See, come on, listen. When Carol and I broke up, I went through the same thing. And you know what I did? I got dressed.
Not touching, can't get mad. Not touching, can't get mad. Not touching, can't get mad.
Oh my God, you rotten boys!
Don't. What gets out hummus? What gets out hummus?
Monica, you know what gets out hummus? If it is a new message, what is he calling to say?
I'd like to pause on this moment in particular because it works both as a joke and as a transition between two different plot threads. I'm going to go off on a brief side tangent here. So, as an improv teacher, I like to use bottle episodes, and specifically this bottle episode, whenever I'm teaching students about monoscene. The monoscene, if you're not familiar, is a long-form improvised show that all takes place in a single space, usually in real time, like a bottle episode. Characters can enter and exit, but the location can't change. Because you don't have the luxury of switching between plot points by jumping to a different location or cutting to different characters, you have to use your words and your physicality to bring strong focus back to your plot thread or your game, if we're talking in improv terms. You also can't just re-enter for the sake of re-entering. You need to re-enter with a move that is going to heighten whatever the game is that you're playing. Now, let's talk about how each of the individual plot threads heighten. Plot A1. Ross gets continually frustrated at no one being ready, eventually blowing up at Rachel as she tries on different outfits. Plot A2. She gets mad, changes into her pajamas, and says she's not gonna go. Ross says that he's sorry and asks how he can make it up to her. Joey suggests that Ross drink the fat. Oh, shit, I forgot to mention the fat. We'll get back to that later. Ross prepares to drink the fat to prove how sorry he is. Rachel stops him, forgives him, then gets dressed. Plot B. Joey and Chandler stay annoyed with each other. Chandler gets dressed up quickly so that Joey will need to leave his chair. Joey does leave the chair, but he takes the cushions with him.
The cushions are the essence of the chair.
That's right. I'm taking the essence.
Joey returns and says, "Where's my underwear?" because Chandler hid all his underwear. Says he isn't currently wearing underwear, but that he does need to wear underwear when he's wearing a rented tux because he doesn't, quote, go commando in another man's fatigues. He tells Chandler he's going to do the opposite of what Chandler did to him. He decides that the opposite means wearing all of Chandler's clothes whilst being commando. Very funny. Plot C. Monica can't take it anymore. She calls Richard and leaves a message. She still has access to Richard's voicemail and wants to show the other friends the message that she left. So she logs into his voicemail, she plays the message back, but then she hears another message from a different woman who seems like she may or may not be romantically involved with Richard. Someone mentions that it could be Richard's daughter. She decides that she's going to try and confirm this by calling Richard's daughter and then hanging up as soon as she hears the voice. Richard's daughter has call ID and calls her back. During the course of that call, Monica explains what happened about hearing the voicemail. Richard's daughter says that she's going to have to tell Richard about what Monica did, despite Monica pleading for her not to do so. Monica attempts to delete her previous message, then leave a new message for Richard, but when she does that, she accidentally sets it as his outgoing message, then gets locked out of his voicemail. Also very funny. Plot D. Phoebe was dressed. Phoebe gets hummus on her dress. Phoebe puts a huge Christmas bow over her stain and looks kind of silly. That's about it. This was really more of a palate cleanser. Speaking of palate cleansers, the episode incorporates a number of these throughout the episode. There are brief non sequiturs that don't directly relate to any specific plot of the episode, but their appearance allows the escalating plots a moment to sort of settle in and breathe.
You know, it's weird. Donald Duck never wore pants. But whenever he's getting out of the shower, he always puts a towel around his waist. I mean, what is that about?
The show also really brilliantly uses exits and entrances as a way to kind of give more dynamic motion to the episode. I decided to actually plot them all out, so let's take a look. So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job a joke you broke, your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in a second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your human. I'll be there. The last thing I want to discuss is how the episode uses every part of the buffalo. This basically just means that when it introduces a small detail, it finds a way to bring the episode back around to use that detail again. We already talked about the cup of fat. The very first thing we see in the episode is Joey comes in to Rachel and Monica's apartment, sees that there's a cup of some liquid, asks Chandler what it is. Chandler says to taste it. He tastes it and he's like, yeah, it's fat. I drank fat. And then that cup of fat actually kind of stays as a detail throughout the entire episode. It serves both to set up that there's kind of some playful antagonism happening between Chandler and Joey, as well as having this kind of gross thing that can kind of exist in the background, and that will end up coming back into play as we close off plots A1 and A2. We also have Joey talking about going commando to mean that he's not wearing any underwear, and then at the very end of the episode when Rachel's ready and she's like, hey, let's go, and she looks really sexy, and then her and Ross are leaving and she's like, oh, and by the way, I'm going commando. And the crowd's like, woo! Man, live studio audiences are horny as hell. If I do have one complaint about the episode, it's the scene that plays during the end credits. Unfortunately, it's at the museum, which means, technically speaking, this isn't a 100% true bottle episode, so why have I even been talking about it? Damn you, friends! Damn you! Otherwise, great episode. I'm usually very snarky and sarcastic in these reviews, but yeah, I don't know. This was just a genuinely good thing that I wanted to talk about. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please, please, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so that you can be the first to know every time I release a new video. I release a new video every Saturday, and I've got a whole nice big backlog of videos that you can go watch, so go do that right now. We have fun here. What's your favorite bottle episode? What's your favorite episode of Friends? Or do you not even like Friends? Do you think it's a stupid, dated piece of crap? Comment down below and let me know. Thanks so much, guys. Boom. Adios. I'll be there for you when the rain starts to fall. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you 'cause you're there for me too.